Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 145th episode of Don't Forget the Popcorn. Spooky time is here, and like I said, we're gonna be covering spooky stuff all month. Did the Lost Boys last week, fun time, and I watched one that had me scared and infuriated all at once. Today, we're gonna be talking about the classic 1999 horror film the Blair Witch Project, directed by Eduardo Sanchez and Daniel Myrick, starring first-time actors Heather Donahue, who changed her name later to distance herself from this movie, Mike Williams and Josh Leonard, who all went by their real first names in this film. So guys, do me a favor, like and subscribe for a guy. I appreciate it. Follow me on Letterboxd, Ralph Vader. It is linked below, and let's get into the Blair Witch Project. All right, so first things first. This movie is legendary for a whole host of reasons. And before we even talk about the movie at all, we have to talk about what drove this movie to the success that it had. Because this movie was made, I believe the production budget was around 30 or 40,000, and with marketing and everything, I think it only shot up to about, at most, probably 500,000. Maybe some reports were saying 750,000, but the film grossed almost 250 million, making it one of the most successful indie films of all time. And this was a film whose marketing was just as brilliant as the real film. Now, I'm going to tell you this right now. If you have not seen this movie, you click this thing off. You go watch this movie and you come back, because this is a ride. So at the time, man, this movie, the marketing, these college guys, they had an idea because they didn't like the horror they were seeing. They wanted to make something different, something fresh and new, and boy, did they. Did it on a shoestring budget with a very small crew of people, some first-time actors, and man, boy, they made something here. So they had a website promoting this Blair Witch thing, and they had a documentary come out before the movie, and all it did was hype up the film, and people thought that these guys were actually dead. Yes, they thought they were dead. And I mean, the marketing did such a good job of making people think that. I mean, dude, they made the actors like stay out of the spotlight so until the movie was out of its run, so people would think that they were dead. Like, I believe that I believe the guy who played Mike actually got some crap from the team because he went and worked on another project, and they're like, bro, people are gonna know that you're alive. And I mean, as effed up as that sounds, I mean, it worked. I mean, it's not every day a movie on a budget like this makes this kind of money. I mean, there's like, I don't know, My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Of course, Paranormal Activities later that came out after this, which was heavily inspired by this movie. I mean, Jason Blum, he passed on this film when he was working at Miramax, and he regretted it and wanted to produce his own kind of found footage film, which is where we got the paranormal films from. So they had auditions for these actors. They told them, hey, you're going to be in the woods. You have to be able to camp. You got to be able to deal with being scared. You got to be able to deal with some of these poor conditions. And they were like, listen, guys, this is going to be a rough one. And I mean, these guys went and roughed it. And the making of this, I mean, the making of this film is just as interesting as the film itself, because I'm not going to give you a huge rundown of how they made the film and everything. You know, I want to get into the meat and potatoes of why this film is so effing scary and great. But I mean, dude, these directors, they tricked them. The script wasn't even a script. It was an outline. And most of this was improv from these actors. And I mean, these guys were incredible. These guys gave dynamite performances. First timers, especially Heather Donahue, as annoying as she was and as much as she drove me crazy, that's all due to a great performance. And I mean, I think I believe that she got a Razzie nom for this, and that is just criminal, man. It's criminal. Just like they gave Tarantino a Razzie nom for From Dusk Till Dawn, also criminal. But I mean, this film really shows you how to stretch a dollar, how to make the most out of what you have, and that people want to see real stuff. This film opened up a huge market. And I mean, it's hard to replicate this kind of magic, though. I mean, this was kind of lightning in a bottle because there are some good found footage films after this, and there were some before this. This isn't the first one, but this was the first big one, and this is the one that really made the genre interesting. I mean, we got, like, we already talked about Paranormals, we got Cloverfield, we got Wreck. Like, all those films are good, but none of them are quite this, if you ask me. And I gotta say, man, this movie does a great job of making you uneasy because I mean it's a simple film, right? It's a film. Let's talk about what it's about. I mean, at the end of the day, it's simple. You got a college girl who wants to do a documentary on this witch, the Blair Witch, out in Burkesville, Maryland, and they're making a documentary. Her and two of her college friends. You got the camera guy, Mike, and you got Josh, who I guess he was a sound guy. You know, these guys just went out there and did it. And the crazy thing is, they actually shot the film. They really shot it on these cameras. And I mean, these actors got not nearly enough credit and absolutely didn't get nearly enough money. So much so that they had to sue Artisan to get paid. Terrible, man. Terrible. These actors should have got a percentage of the box office. I'll tell you that. But this film deals in ghosts, spirits, urban legends, mystery, right? Because there's a whole backstory, and this is all fake, and that's what sold this movie. Everyone thought this was real. People actually went looking for the Blair Witch after this film. The Blair Witch is fake. You know, the Blair Witch is not real. And these guys did an incredible job of creating this mystery around this mythical witch. And the best part about this movie is that you never see the witch. And of course, there was all kinds of talks of they were going to show the witch, and I think it was the best move not to do it. Kind of like Jaws. Like, do you see the shark in Jaws? Yes, but not a lot. And that makes it much more effective in that regard. And I mean, ghost stories, paranormal stuff, supernatural stuff, that stuff is all fun. That's all stuff I love in horror films. I like gore too, don't get me wrong. I like slashers, all that. I love all horror, but there's something about a good minimalistic supernatural ghost or spirit movie or witch movie that just really hits. There's not a, like, you see the smallest amount of blood in this movie. You don't see anyone getting hacked up. It's nothing crazy. The suspense is all built through this tension because guess what? The real enemy of this movie isn't the witch. I mean, okay, it can be argued it's the witch because there's tons of theories about what happened in the woods, what went on. There's people who think that the witch is the reason that they got lost. The people who think that the witch is the one who kind of set them up to fail, so the witch is at fault. But I'm going to tell you right now, man, getting lost in the woods is one of the scariest effing thoughts you could ever have, man. Watching this movie gives you pure anxiety because you're like, God, I could not imagine. And the way these actors acted in this situation is exactly how it would go in real life because this film plays on your fears because this is something that could actually happen. It's stuff that happens all the time. If you've ever been lost somewhere, like truly lost and not knowing where you're going, it's scary as hell. It's scary as hell. I mean, the real enemy here is being lost in the woods. The real fear is the fear itself, not the spirits, because we don't see this. And whatever theories you want to play around with or toss out there that the spirits, the witch, whatever you want to call it, is involved in all this, sure, that's believable and that's totally fine. But I mean, obviously we know when you get to the end, we know there's something going on. But let's be honest. It's all about the tension building about being lost in these woods. That's what makes this movie. That's what builds this film. That is what makes this film fantastic because this has you on edge. And once you do get to the supernatural stuff, you're just so on edge. You're terrified. And I must say, this film has one of the best horror endings ever. Simple, it works, and it's scary as hell. I mean, man, when you first see this and you see Mike standing in that corner, just sitting there as Heather is screaming his name and he's not responding, and you just see that camera drop, and them credits roll. My God, my God. Brilliance, brilliance, pure magic, horror movie magic, minimalistic superstardom. I mean, I couldn't ask for more in an 82-minute horror film. In such a short film, tension is built so quickly and it just carries you throughout. I mean, I could not imagine. I couldn't imagine. And especially it's what makes this so crazy is like these actors, everything you see is authentic. There's no script. The directors did such a great job of messing with them, making them camp, barely feeding them, messing with them while they're sleeping, actually scaring them. Tons of the interactions and reactions in this film are authentic. They really got this because it's hard to capture this. And this film only works because we don't know who these actors are. If we would have saw in 1999 three, great young up and coming actors playing the leads, it wouldn't feel the same because we know who they are. We know them. And because we don't know these people, this gives this film a realistic feel. I saw this movie when I was 8 years old, maybe even 7, back in 99 with my mom. Like, if you've heard me on this channel, I talk about mom and me going to the movies all the time back in the day. I was her buddy. If she wanted to see something, she would always take me. No matter what the movie was and no matter what age I was, I always saw it. So I always saw stuff I was way too young to see. And man, I remember being terrified watching this in theaters. But I also remember thinking like, man, I've never seen a horror movie like this before. It was just so different than what I was used to. At the time, I was a huge Scream fan. That was hot in the mid 90s and late 90s. Scream 1, 2, and 3, loved them. Those were hot. And then of course, like, I was still riding the highs of Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, and these are all clear cut and defined monsters. So we got Ghostface, you got Freddy Krueger, you got Michael Myers, you got Jason, whoever. You don't get any of that in this movie. You don't get someone chasing you around steadily. You're not, my God, the woods, the environment. The environment is one of the main enemies in this film. And I think that's brilliant. Because if you've ever seen the movie The Descent, everyone knows, as great as The Descent is, the first half is way better than the second half. Because the first half, they're fighting the environment and it's far more interesting, scary, and thrilling than when they actually start fighting the monsters. Because the monsters aren't that scary. But the environment that you can't control is way scarier. So, I mean, there's just so much to love about this movie. Like, I mean, the cairns around the tent, the piles of rocks, if you guys don't know what cairns are. I mean, dude, as they go on and they keep hearing the sounds, and then Josh having the jelly on his bag, and then they wake up and Josh is gone, and it's like, oh my God, it's just each scene just builds on each other so nicely. And I mean, I was terrified. This movie plays on your biggest fears, like these guys running out of food, running out of cigarettes. The map is gone. I mean, the map seemed pretty useless anyway, but the map is gone. And all this is due to the arrogance of Heather. Heather thought she knew it all. Heather went to play with spirits. She effed around and found out, and she got herself and all of her friends killed. And in one of the most iconic scenes in the film, the confessional scene where you see half of her face and her nose is there and she's crying, her nose is running, she's apologizing to the parents, she's apologizing to everybody, and she's admitting her faults. It's one of the most brilliant monologues in cinema. Like, seriously. And Happy Accidents are great because she was supposed to be fully in frame, but she had the camera zoomed in and didn't realize it when she shot it, and it came out and it just worked. That I just couldn't imagine seeing her whole face in that scene, and that scene's been parodied so many times now. Famously, Scary Movie with Gail Hailstorm, or she changed her name like a million times with the big snot bubbles. So funny, and but I mean, anytime a movie like this is parodied, it's because it's good. And this movie has been a huge inspiration throughout horror since its release. And I must say, in my opinion, this is still one of the scariest movies ever made. And the arrogance of Heather, it's insane how relatable and realistic all these characters are. Everyone has known someone kind of like each of the characters. And I mean, I at 99, I was very young, very, very young. I wasn't even a double digit age, but I remember things and I remember how people were and how people dressed and how people acted. And like these characters felt so real and lived in because they used their real clothes, because they used their real names, because they didn't have a script. This felt so real, and I felt like I knew all these people, and you could see the arrogance in Heather, and you see that pride, but it's insane to watch that pride slowly break down as the mind is mentally being consumed by fear. And I think that is some of the best, I guess, non-writing ever, man. I was watching this film last night, and I've seen this movie a bunch of times, throughout the years. 26 years old. And I was watching this film last night, and I was glued to it like it was the first time I'd ever seen it. And I just could not get over how incredible it was, as upset and angry I was getting with Heather because she drives you insane. I was like, man, it would be so hard to be there with her because she would be driving me nuts. But I'm not the type to go walk in the woods. I don't like camping. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It ain't really my thing. I would have been like, guys, listen, I'm gonna stay and watch the car and make sure everything's good, all right? Because if you guys get lost, someone's got to be able to round up the search party, right? And I mean, they just do such a great job of playing on our fears. I mean, imagine walking through the woods, going in a circle for 15 hours and ending up right back where you started, knowing that you are going to have to camp again another night as things are steadily getting scarier and scarier. I mean, how about the logos and the trees, right? One of my favorite lines in this movie, when they're talking about the little doll things in the trees, Josh says, "No redneck is this creative." And I thought that was a funny line, but at the same time, it showed you how scared these guys were getting because they knew something was afoot. They knew something was wrong. They knew something wasn't right. And they knew they had to get out. And they tried and tried and tried, and ultimately they failed. And one thing I love in a good horror movie is a horror movie that doesn't have a happy ending, a horror movie where everyone dies, a horror movie where there is no light. And that is one of those movies. And of course, there's little nitpicks you could have. It's like, okay, it's a found footage film, right? So they found the footage. Someone found this, and they tell you this at the beginning of the movie. But it's like, well, who went and found the footage and was alive to bring it back and show people? It's crazy. But the making of this film is fantastic. It's brilliant. Learning about how this film was made and all the crazy stuff that went on is just as interesting as a film. I highly suggest everyone, if you've never seen this film, I hope you didn't listen to this, but I highly suggest everyone go and listen to some interviews, go and listen to some people talk about the details in the making of this film, because that's not what this video is about. This video is just highlighting how great this movie is, how scary it is, why it was scary then, why it was scary now. This movie is, I mean, honestly, I think it's more scary now that I'm an adult because I've been in more situations. I've lived more life. So now I know more things. And I'm like, man, there's just no way. I have to say, watching this movie again, this is one of the scariest movies ever made. And it's not because there's things jumping at you. It's not because you're watching gore and gross and none of that. It's because it's playing on the fears of things that could really happen to you. And your mind falls down this rabbit hole with these guys, man. And like you do start to feel bad for them. Even Heather, man. Even Heather. I even feel bad for her by the end because she, as arrogant as she was and as overconfident as she was, she was remorseful about the situation. She didn't want this. She didn't ask for this. She thought she was doing a little college project, and it turns out this is the last time you're ever going to see anybody you love again. So, I think this spooky season, if it's been a while since you watched the Blair Witch Project, pop this thing on, give it a watch, and you let me know for yourself if this is one of the scariest movies ever made. I'm not going to say it's the scariest movie ever made. And honestly, I don't know what that movie could be because films scare me for different reasons. And I'm never actually scared by a movie, Like it takes something like this to actually like make me feel. I can watch a Hereditary, I can watch a Exorcist and all that. And I love those. I love those movies and they're great. And they are scary, but they're not scary. Like, nothing to me really scares me. After I watch Antichrist from Lars von Trier, I'm pretty much desensitized to everything at this point. But the Blair Witch Project managed to still grab my emotions, grab my nerves, and heighten my anxiety. And for that, I'm going to give the Blair Witch Project a perfect 10 out of 10. A horror movie classic for the ages. A film that will be studied for many more years to come. And a movie that can never be replicated. This one holds up like no other, at least in my opinion. And it's still an absolute banger. A must watch this Halloween spooky season. Guys, thank you so much for watching my Blair Witch Project review. Let me know if there is a film or topic you'd like me to review. Spooky stuff only until November, guys. Follow me on Letterboxd, Ralph Vader. That'll be linked below. Like and subscribe for a guy. Help me hit my goal. Trying to hit 700 subs by the beginning of winter. Guys, I got a podcast with my buddy, The Cutting Room Floor. I will link that down below if you're interested in more longer format movie content. I will be back next week. And don't forget the popcorn.